Alright, this is Danhausen here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are here for a very special The World on GCW review. Yes, indeed, your boy SP3 was there live with a bunch of the True Heel faithful, Baby Seth, Top Guy JJ, Miss Chrissy Love, to watch the big event from GCW, The World on GCW, live from New York City's Hammerstein Ballroom. It was their first major pay-per-view, first big show in Hammerstein Ballroom, their most attended event in the history of the company. Game Changer Wrestling has been an up-and-coming indie promotion, which started all in New Jersey. It was originally Jersey Championship Wrestling, which developed into GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, headed up by the boy Brett Lauderdale. Long history of great death matches, and really they have etched their mark on the world of independent wrestling, while promotions like Ring of Honor have kind of gone more mainstream, and PWG, while still has its place in the independent world, it is not seen by that many people because of the way they are distributed. GCW has been running major shows for over the last couple of years, right on Fight TV, as well as other streaming services, where it has really etched its place and really put a spotlight on a bunch of new stars in the professional wrestling world. Stars like Nick Gage, who was the star of his own episode of Dark Side of the Ring, as well as AJ Gray, Effie, Joey Janela, and others who have come into prominence on the mainstream, whether it be in Impact Wrestling, AEW, or WWE. So we are here to talk about The World on GCW from this past Sunday, January 23rd, live on pay-per-view on Fight TV from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. We are here to talk about it. So if you're watching us, whether it be on the Patreon early release of this review, you could drop a like, a heart emoji on this video right here. Tell us if you enjoy our GCW reviews, and maybe we will do more for all the other major events that GCW has throughout the year. If you show your support for this video here, we will offer more reviews of GCW. But if you're watching it on our YouTube release of the video, remember to drop a thumbs up on the video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And if you haven't already, you could have saw this earlier on patreon.com/True Heel Heat, where you can get even more exclusive content. $3 a month, just $3 a month for more exclusive content, early release of reviews, the 3 Count with SP3, our New Japan Pro Wrestling coverage, Fusion of Honor reviewing MLW, plus much more. But let's get into it. Let's get into The World on GCW on January 23rd, 2022, live from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. I was there live for the very beginning of the show, and the atmosphere was it was a very electric vibe to it. A lot of people were comparing it, calling it GCW's WrestleMania, Game Changer Mania, as Matt Cardona has coined on social media. While I kind of said the energy around it kind of felt like ECW Barely Legal, the first ever pay-per-view from ECW. And then it was announced just weeks before The World on GCW that this would be their first pay-per-view on traditional pay-per-view outlets. But the kickoff show started an hour before the main show, and they had 2 big matches. They had a battle royal / rumble type of gimmick where many different names came out. We got a lot of the GCW regulars like Nate Webb and B-Boy making his own appearance. Plus you had some special guests like LaFisto, or my girl, you know, my favorite, Thunder Rosa was a special guest in this one, as well as Psycho Clown, the legend of Mexico. But this match was won by none other than 911's kid, Big Vin. Big Vin got the victory in this one, in the Battle Royal, and shared a PBR with his father, 911, the legend from ECW, the OG legend from ECW. If you're you're a hardcore ECW fan, you remember some 911. Let me know in the comments section below. Then you also had on the kickoff show the Kickoff Scramble. The Scramble match is traditionally a way that GCW kind of kicks off their shows. It's usually typically in the opening match spot, and it's really a staple of GCW to the point that myself and guys like Steven Jensen, that is an avid follower of Game Changer Wrestling, say that they should just make a Scramble Championship, because they have so many scrambles on all their different shows, and they have these guys that are kind of like experts or always get big wins in these Scramble matches. And a couple of guys were in here, guys like Shane Mercer or Ninja Mac, Alex Zane, who was formerly known as Ari Sterling in WWE. You also had Jack Cartwheel in this one, Dante Leon, one of GCW's faithful, as well as Grim Reefer. Grim Reefer is a vet. He is a legend of the East Coast wrestling scene, and he got the victory in this one. And it was nice to see that the Reefer, whose gimmick is all about smoking that marijuana, be accepted by a big crowd in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Next, you had a little promo before the main show kicked off with Brett Lauderdale and the Dirty Daddy himself, Chris Dickenson, one of the mainstays of GCW. You might have seen him on New Japan Strong or on Ring of Honor, former Ring of Honor tag team champion with Homicide. They addressed the Hammerstein faithful in attendance, and Dickinson can't compete tonight due to an injury that he suffered on a New Japan Strong taping, but promises to be back for spring break weekend, which is going to be Joey Janela's spring break number 6 during WrestleMania weekend in Dallas, Texas. And Lauderdale pays tribute to some of the wrestlers and fans from GCW's past that are no longer with us. So it was a very touching moment for a lot of the main hardcore GCW fans that were in attendance for this one. Steven DeAngelis addresses the crowd, and he presents our boy, the ring announcer extraordinaire, the voice of GCW, MLJ. I was very happy for MLJ. Huge professional wrestling fan, such a great announcer, such a great distinct voice that is recognizable with Game Changer Wrestling. So it was very fitting to see him on the biggest show in GCW history. He needed to be the ring announcer on this night. And the pay-per-view starts with kind of a blurry, old school WWE pay-per-view opening warning graphic. Then we see the video with various GCW wrestlers talking about their weaknesses. The video that promoted the Hammerstein Ballroom show, which also featured Nick Gage, but he is not currently booked on the show going into the night. So it was very interesting, but just these opening energy, like the energy picked up from where the crowd was with me, in the crowd. I was kind of everywhere. I was kind of on the floor for a bit. Then I went up into the balcony with the rest of the True Heel faithful. But just the energy from all those different places, it was very like an ECW, Ring of Honor type of crowd, kind of mix mash in between with the GCW hardcore fans. And we got into the opening contest, which was the brass ring ladder match, to grab the brass ring ladder match, which basically is kind of like a Money in the Bank type of matchup, where there is a brass ring at the top of the ladder, and the winner grabs the brass ring, pulls it down. They get the match of their choice anytime, any place for a full year in GCW. And we had PCO, G-Raver, Tony Deppen, Jordan Oliver, Jimmy Lloyd, and Alex Colon. G-Raver was actually replacing Leo Rush, who was originally scheduled for this matchup. But apparently, stuff got shuffled around on this show, which we'll get into later, what Leo Rush found himself into. But we got a 7th participant in this one, which was none other than AJ Gray. And let me just say this is my first time reviewing GCW on anything concerning True Heel Heat. And if you want to ask SP3 what's your favorite entrance in professional wrestling today, it ain't nothing like AJ Gray coming out to Waka Flocka. Flocka. Oh my God, it just got you hyped. It felt like you were at a party. Like Top Guy JJ was just like, oh my God, I've never been at a wrestling show that does it like that, plays stuff like this. So it was very unique, very cool. In the end, this was crazy. Spots, bumps, everywhere. This one was ladders and bodies all over the place. It was the one and only AJ Gray who got the victory, picking up the victory in this one, pulling down the brass ring and grabbing it to get the victory. And now he gets an opportunity anytime, any place for a match of his choosing. I am interested to find out what AJ Gray has in store. I mean, there is a match that we all want him to have, that we wanted to have on this show with Eddie Kingston in New York City. So if GCW is coming back to New York City, AJ Gray versus Eddie Kingston is the match that I would do. What about you? Let me know in the comments down below. I just feel like that's the matchup that I wanted to see on this show. That's a matchup that we need to see in GCW sometime in 2022. And Eddie Kingston is injured right now. That's why he wasn't on this show. But I look forward to AJ Gray getting that opportunity. He is the current GCW Extreme Champion, defeating PCO for the title, who was also in this matchup. He had a crazy bump spot where he does like AJ Gray stood on top of a ladder and tried to do like a dive and completely hits the ladder bridge and then bumps off of it. It was a scary spot, but in the end, he got the victory. Next up, we had Team Bandito versus Team Gringo Loco. Gringo Loco's team having Demonic Flamita, Ares, and versus the team of Team Bandito, which had Laredo Kid, ASF. And this one was lucha crazy. There was some ridiculous spot at one point. All three on three had a chicken fight, which ended with ASF pulling out a ridiculous Canadian destroyer off the top person's shoulders. We then got poison ranas from the two guys that were on the other guy's shoulders. This one was insane. This one was just batshit crazy. And honestly, this was my match of the night. Like, I gave the opener about like 2 3/4 stars. Like I said, it was some good spots here and there, but it was a little bit sloppy and all over the place. But this one was just smooth. Everything was hitting. It was right where it needed to be. Gringo got the win for his team with a power driver on ASF to get the victory. I gave this one 4 1/4 stars. This is crazy lucha, just the way we all love and like it. Next up, I thought we were going to get a little change. We had Ian Riccaboni and Kevin Gill joining the commentary team, and we were supposed to get the Ring of Honor World Championship on the line with Jonathan Gresham going one-on-one with Blake Christian. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. Jonathan Gresham had travel issues. So instead, we got our boy, Lio Rush. Lio Rush was in there, and he had a very good matchup with Blake Christian. These guys got plenty of time out there to work, and they had a competitive back and forth contest. Lio Rush losing his athleticism and his speed, Blake Christian keeping up with his athleticism and his agility and the speed of Lio Rush, and really bringing it to him to get the victory in this one, doing a 450 knee drop to get the win. There's not much I can say here. This was probably the second best matchup of the night. These two guys just worked very well with each other, and they had a banger of a contest here. So that's all I got to say about that one, ladies and gentlemen. Lio Rush, Blake Christian went out there. They worked very hard. I mean, I know there will be a bunch of people who were there in the crowd. I heard a bunch of people saying stuff like this was too long. Maybe they could have cut some time off to make this a smoother match. But I gave it 3.5 stars regardless. Next, we got a recap of the saga between Matt Cardona and Joey Janela to set up the grudge match between Janela and Cardona. Cardona with Chelsea Green in his corner. And of course, we had to see some special entrances on pay-per-views before. But there was nothing like Matt Cardona coming out to enter the Sandman in in Hammerstein Ballroom with a fuck Mick Foley flannel on and an "If Cardona wins, we riot" t-shirt with Chelsea Green in his corner. My God, Matt Cardona, your ability to gain heat has been something magical in GCW. He has been the top heel in GCW, and he was reveling in this moment. He got every bit of cheap heat he can before this match, and it was a good time. Chelsea Green introduced us to the Deathmatch King. Matt tells us his parents are here, and they shouldn't boo him. Everybody's so ungrateful since the only reason this venue is sold out is them. And of course, this beautiful picture that is, of course, our thumbnail for this matchup. But this led into Joey Janela coming out, who's actually been really getting into excellent shape, and he was in excellent shape in this one. The matchup was starting off really well. They were working well with each other. And then I don't know what the hell happened. Chelsea Green at one point does a fake turn on Matt Cardona, gives him a low blow. She then tells Joey Janela to go to the top rope to hit his signature elbow drop, but instead pushes Janela off the ropes, giving him the low blow on the top rope. And we reveal that Matt Cardona is wearing a cup. It's the first little thing that happens. Then we hear the music of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and Smart Mark Sterling comes out with a man with a Vincent McMahon mask on, and it's none other than Vincent. Vincent made an appearance here. Virgil, aka Vincent, in this one. Janela goes under the ring to get a door, but instead he finds Hornswoggle. We get some Hornswoggle spots in this one. We get Hornswoggle versus Marco Stunt, who is there for Joey Janela. They're good friends. We get Marco putting Hornswoggle through a door while Janela does an elbow drop to Cardona through a door at ringside. We get into the ring. It looks like Janela has Cardona dead to rights. And then we get an Edge lookalike from Edge from One Night Stand 2006 with a motorcycle helmet on, spearing Janela through a door. And it is none other than the Major Bro himself, Brian Myers. Brian Myers giving Cardona a hand in this one, and Cardona hits the Rough Rider through the door to get the victory. This was just a crazy smoke and mirrors, dog and pony show that was a little bit too extra for its own good, in my opinion. I gave this one 2 3/4 stars. It would have been higher if they would have just cut down on like one or two things. The Vincent shit we don't need. We don't need the Chelsea fake heel turn until the very end. It was just ridiculous. And just to make sure you're on an extra fever pitch from this whole entire matchup, we get Cardona and Myers in the ring. The fans are about to riot. And then the music of D-Generation X, Run DMC, King of Rock's theme hits. And it's none other than X-Pac Sean Waltman. He comes in the ring, clears out Cardona, gives him the X Factor, lays out Myers, and helps up Janela. And it seems like we're going to get X-Pac versus Janela versus X-Pac and Janela versus the Major Bros, which I will probably be back to review that show when that happens, because this was crazy. This was probably the most memorable moment and match of the night because of all the shenanigans involved. But this is really where the show kind of turned. There was some good wrestling before Janela and Cardona, but it kind of turned for the worse after this, where the expectations or the potential of a lot of matches kind of fell kind of short for a couple of things. Next up, we had the return of Mance Warner, who's here for the big night for GCW. After his speech putting over the audience, Atticus Cogar comes out. He emerges to rain on everybody's parade and basically say the opposite of what Manser did. They go at it inside the ring. It's Matthew Justice who comes out to make the save for the injured Mance Warner, and there's some 440 folks to come and beat them down. Atticus has the Skewers, and they're about to take out SGC, but the lights go out. We hear a whistle, and it's none other than Sabu and Bill Alfonso in the ring. They take out 440. All I would have loved to see is Rob Van Dam here, because if you know SGC, they come out to walk by Pantera, so it would have been a very full circle type of moment if Van Dam was a part of this angle as well. But this was a nice little angle to pop the crowd and get them some nostalgia on the night with Sabu and Bill Alfonso in the Hammerstein Ballroom. But we had our next matchup, which was our ladies matchup for the night, as Ruby Soho of AEW made her appearance against GCW's number one woman, it seems, Allie Katch. Allie Katch has been getting big victories on the last couple of GCW shows against Kylie Ray as well as Thunder Rosa, and now she versus her dream match here in Ruby Soho. And I thought these two women worked very well with each other. Allie Katch kind of using her size and technical ability, while Ruby Soho kind of using her smarts, having the better ring IQ. In the end, Katch tried for a power driver off the second rope, but Ruby gets out of it and hits the big no future kick off the second rope to get the victory here. The fans really wanted Allie Katch to get the win here, but Ruby kind of is the veteran, and there's nothing for Allie Katch to accomplish after she beats Ruby Soho. If the door is open for Ruby Soho to make more appearances for GCW, this could be something of a story for Allie Katch, where she has to regain her momentum after this loss, and eventually at the next big GCW show, she can defeat Ruby Soho. And then after that, maybe GCW can bring some more ladies in and start a real women's division. But Allie Katch is a great starting point, and she had a great performance here. I gave this match 3.25 stars. I thought it was better than what it seems. I'm seeing a lot of people online say there were mixed reviews for this matchup. I thought it was a good matchup for what we got here. 10 minutes of good action between two good professional wrestlers. Next up, we had another fever pitch type of matchup, as it was Effie going one-on-one with WWE Hall of Famer Double J Jeff Jarrett. Double J comes out to this kind of spooky My World remix. Effie is fun. Effie always brings a lot of humor, a lot of charisma, a lot of charm to his matches. I thought that this would have been a little bit better and would have played off the characters more, where you have your flamboyant superstar in Effie versus the old school cowboy in Jeff Jarrett. So I thought they would play off of those characters and have a really fun match that brought a lot of the things, kind of the smoke and mirrors that we saw in Janela and Cardona, that really didn't need it. I think it needed it here, and we didn't get it. But Jarrett, in the end, he hits Effie with his signature guitar, but Effie no-sells it, basically, and Jarrett responds with a stroke with the guitar over Effie's head to get the 3 count. This was probably the most disappointing match of the night for me. I gave it 2 stars. Next, we had one of the main events of the evening, as it was going to be the notorious 187 Homicide coming out to his old school Ring of Honor theme, which I really appreciated as an old school Ring of Honor fan, and coming versus Jon Moxley, who looks like he was in incredible shape. And this was exactly what you would come to expect from Jon Moxley and Homicide. They went at it. They didn't waste any of the time that they were allowed it in this one. It was hard hitting. It was very physically intense. Some steel chairs getting involved. You had 2 pros, 2 legends of independent wrestling. When you really think about it, Homicide can still go in the ring. He can't go like he did in his prime in Ring of Honor, but he can still have a damn good matchup with Jon Moxley, and that's what he did here. Moxley gets the victory with the paradigm shift on an open steel chair to retain the GCW World Championship. But as soon as Moxley and Homicide was announced for the semi-main event spot, it made people very interested for what would go down in our main event of the evening for the GCW Tag Team Championships. ROH's own the Briscoes, the ROH World Tag Team Champions, as well, had an open challenge to any tag team in the business today. And Jay and Mark Briscoe have been running amok in GCW. They came and they defeated SGC to win the GCW Tag Team Championships. They've defeated the Rejects. They defeated Starboy Charlie and Chris Dickenson. They defeated every single tag team that GCW has put in their way. But now they had an open challenge. And The first person who answered this open challenge was a Deathmatch King. Of course, on a night of GCW, celebrating GCW, you had to have one of the stalwarts of the company. So it was Matt Tremont, who recently made his return to professional wrestling. Matt Tremont with Dewey Donovan come out. And of course, this leads till the bell tolling and the man, the king of this shit, Nick motherfucking Gage, MDK, Murder, Death, Kill Gang, all fucking day. Nick Gage made his return to GCW, and what a response from the Hammerstein Ballroom friends. They were going crazy for Nick Gage. They were happy to see him, and this led to a crazy, just all over the place brawl. It didn't last very long because they were pushing against the end of the show, so this main event matchup lasted about 6 minutes before Nick Gage hit a second rope power driver on Mark Briscoe through a setup door. He then hit the choke breaker to get the victory, and Nick Gage and Matt Tremont are your new GCW World Tag Team Champions. After the match, Nick Gage asks where his fucking gang is at. The whole GCW locker room gets into the ring. This was not long enough to be a great main event matchup, but the spectacle and the moment of Nick Gage returning, the aftermath with all the GCW locker room in the ring was just, you felt like this was a very important moment for the company, for Gage, for everyone involved here. Nick Gage says he got his mind, his body, and his soul right. He got messages every day from the MDK gang telling him to keep going. GCW is the best promotion in the world, and it's MDK all fucking day. I gave the main event 2.5 stars. Like I said, not long enough to be a good or even great main event, but the moment, the spectacle, Nick Gage returning, that's what everybody will remember. Him getting a big win, becoming the GCW World Tag Team Champions with Matt Tremont. Great moment for them. Great moment for GCW. And what a show overall for GCW. I am going to go with a thumbs up for this show. I didn't go too high for this show. I gave it 6.5 out of 10. There was stuff that I didn't like on this show. Like I said, the show kind of took a downturn where the matches really didn't hit the way they were hitting, like Leo Rush versus Blake Christian, Team Gringo versus Team Bandito, or the Grab the Brass Ring ladder match. Those were really strong matches that got better as the show was going on. Matt Cardona and Joey Janela had a good, solid matchup going until all the shenanigans got involved, and I felt like GCW never were able to get the momentum back behind them. Ali and Ruby Soho were on their way to having one of the better matches of the night, and then it gets cut short at like 10 minutes. Effie and Double J not booked the way I would have booked it with the two characters presented. Moxley and Homicide, a very good matchup, but once again, cut kind of short, 11 minutes long, and then the main event, great moment with Nick Gage returning, but only a 6-minute main event. That's going to leave a lot of people disappointed. So I understand the people that came out of the show, especially if this was your first GCW show, disappointed with what they offered. For GCW fans, there was elements of this that felt like an authentic GCW show. Also elements that felt like they were kind of catering to the casual fan. So this was a mixed bag show, regardless of if you're a hardcore or a casual GCW fan, in my opinion. But it is a show that I would say is very important for you to see, because it's one of the biggest independent wrestling shows of the year. And it's something that we're going to look back on and say, oh, this was GCW kind of getting started on a different level of running Hammerstein Ballroom and big places like that on a consistent basis. Or we're going to look back on this and say, like, this was a misstep for GCW and they did it too early. Didn't do it at the right time for them. We will not know until months later, but this is an important event that I tell you to must see, to go out of your way to see. The match of the night was Team Gringo versus Team Bandito. MVP of the night was Nick Gage for that memorable return. And LVP of the night, I got to go with Jeff Jarrett or Vincent, because he didn't need to be there. But that is all for the World on GCW special review by your boy SP3. If you're watching on their Patreon early release, let me know in the comments below if you like this GCW review. If you want to see more, maybe I'll watch the next GCW event coming up, I believe, this weekend, and I can review it right here on Patreon exclusively. But you can also see this release over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/True Hill Heat, and become a subscriber over there if you haven't already. So it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been the World on GCW review. I am signing off until next time.